Welcome to Creating a Life in Music. My name is Mike Salo. I'm a guitarist and music educator from Minneapolis, Minnesota in the US, and I want to know how other musicians make their living, how they got there, how they sustain it, and most importantly, the insights and tips they may have for the rest of us. I interview musicians from all over the world, from various parts of the music industry to break down the question, how do I do music full time? So join me as we discover the many different ways to create a life in music. If you're a guitar player who's ever wanted to attend music college but couldn't because it's too expensive or too far away, or maybe you're just beyond that point in your life and you're just too busy with your own family and your own career to commit to something like that, I would highly recommend going and checking out fretboardbiology.com. At only $29 a month, Fretboard Biology takes out all the guesswork, putting the right things in the right order. It's highly structured, highly organized, college-level guitar program designed by one of the top guitar educators on the planet, Joe Elliott. Joe was head of the guitar department at McNally Smith for a number of years, where he designed the entire guitar curriculum, as well as being head over at Musicians Institute in Hollywood for many, many years. He knows what you need to know. And you can get 50% off your first month when you go to fretboardbiology.com/register-salo, my last name, that's S-A-L-O-W. So fretboardbiology.com/register-salo.
Yes.
So what is it?
Greece.
Is it, was it 7 hours difference? So what time is it there for you?
Yeah, it's 4:37 p.m. right now.
All right. So is it the end of your day, or you still got
Kinda.
what's going on?
I still have some lessons to do later on, but other than that, good.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of lessons, a lot of one-on-one stuff, or is it mostly YouTube and online stuff?
No, I do a lot of online lessons, and I also teach in a music school, so I have a lot of work on that field. Like, that's the main source of income.
Okay.
Right?
Is that local, the school, or?
The school is local. It's pretty close to my place. And yeah, I do have online students, and then, one-on-one here, stuff like that.
Oh, okay, cool. Are you, are you mostly doing your own students? Or are you at the school? Is the school like more like a traditional lessons place, or is it like high school, college, or something like that?
No, it's I would call it like conservatory, right?
Okay.
So it's like here in Greece, like you don't get to study music in the way you guys do in the US, like Berkeley, which it's considered like a normal study. So here it's something like you do on the side, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
I teach in that type of schools. It's like a conservatory.
Okay, is it like adults or kids or
Anybody?
Okay, so it's like like an after. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So typical like lessons place. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, how long have you been there?
It's like 5 years now. I think so. Approximately 5 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's good to meet you.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah. I've been following your stuff. Yeah, I've been following your stuff for a long time. So you started, I feel like I discovered your stuff maybe, a long time ago. So long that I don't remember, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. When did you start posting kind of the really high quality solo videos that you do on YouTube?
So it was like a process, as pretty much every creator. So I didn't start in super high quality. I started uploading, I think it was like 2012 or something, 2013 or something. So it's been a while, roughly 10 years. But, I just started using whatever I had, like back in the day. Like, I remember my first video was using a crappy, I think it was an iPod or something, that music, small thing we used to have back in the day. So it was pretty crappy. But then once I've seen like maybe 3-4 years in YouTube, I started realizing, things are getting bigger and bigger. Not too big, but, I started gaining some audience. And then I invested in buying new cameras and learning how to use them and learning how, the visuals work, the setting, the image, lighting and all that, lights, sound. So it's been maybe 5 years that I think I started producing better videos, approximately. Yeah.
Nice, man. And seems like it's been pretty successful. You got the Kiesel thing going on. I think you guys, are you working with Fractal too?
No, that's a weird relationship I have with Fractal. Not weird. It's awesome, but I'm not endorsed. So fun fact, quick story for that is like, endorsements is a huge part of professional musicians, I guess. And, there's a lot to talk about that. But what happened with Fractal is they just messaged me out of the blue. Like I got an email from the European dealer here in the EU. And I got an email like that was like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, can't remember, 3 years ago. And they were like, dude, we've been seeing your videos. You are using the XFX2 for so many years and promoting, our brand and all that. And as a thank you, we want to exchange your XFX2 with a brand new XFX3. Let us know if you accept that. At first, I thought that was a typical scam email. I was right. So I just went straight up on Instagram, found that official dealer, page, profile, whatever, and I messaged them like, guys, there's a girl named Susie Eisler, messaging me saying this and that. Like, is this true or I'm getting scammed? And the guy replied to me in a minute and was like, yeah, she's my boss. And that's actually true. So they just sent me the picture. So we have that type of connection where they said to me, Stel, whenever something new comes up and a new product, you get it for free and you just go play with it. And that's it. So
put it in your videos.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like the endorsement thing these days has changed or morphed into something a little bit off the books as what I grew up thinking it was. And I think it's especially true with the social media age, because I've had similar things where they're like, no strings attached. We just want to send it to you and make a relationship. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, and they're essentially like, do with it what you will. And it's like, oh, like it's kind of this, I don't know if you have this too, but as you start to get bigger and promote and get more more followers and everything, you get a lot of, I don't know if you get a lot of like people who come out of the woodwork as far as like random little brands that you're just like, oh gosh, like this is too many like at once. Like I can't do all this, because you'll get random little brands. Can we send you this to try? Can you send you this to try? And they're like, some of the stuff, it's like, I don't know if you're contacting the right person for this, because I don't even know if I'll have time to sit down and tinker with that. Oh yeah. Have you had that? Yeah.
Man. There are many companies. I won't say their names right now.
Yeah.
But I have their products sitting right in front of me. They're just like there, a bunch of them. And there are several things. Either I didn't have the time to just sit down and do a proper video with them. The most honest answer would be, I'm a guy that I'm showing the things I use.
Yeah.
I'm not easily like lured into showing stuff just for like money or whatever type of trade. Like if I don't use it, if I don't play it, how am I going to promote it? Like I don't know it. I don't play it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are products that you can obviously as a player sit down and play them and just do a video and get what they want and, do whatever thing you guys talk about. But I have a bunch of amplifiers here, tube amps and pedals and pedal boards and stuff that I still haven't done any video yet. But I feel a little bit ugly about it because, they trust you to do that and then you don't find the time, or I'm so obsessed with my XFX3. So it's so difficult just not playing with it. But I will, like I promise I will do the videos.
Yeah, man, I have the same pile actually. It's a little more scattered, but
you feel me.
There's a couple things I'm like. Yeah, wow. There's a few things where it's like you get them and you're like they're very cool, like the concept, but it becomes a whole sort of undertaking once you build up, as bad as it sounds and maybe as privileged as it sounds, once you build up a collection, you're like, oh shit, like now I have 5 things that I need to make videos. And then some of them have learning curves. Like I do have one thing over here that kind of has a learning curve and I haven't even touched it. I know. Yeah. And then it's funny because I think at the beginning of my career, I would have had all the time to like get these things and like tweak them, and I would have had all the energy. But like now that I'm deep in, it's hard to feel like you have the time, because by the end of the work day, I think a lot of us, we do like 10 to 12 hour days. And then you're like, well, I'm not going to continue to do that now because I don't have, like, I'm exhausted or whatever.
Have you ever also noticed that, dude, like the more you're making it, let's say just that in the online world as a musician specifically, it gets harder to just please everybody and even companies. And at some point, time is getting limited, you grow old, like you do stuff, life is busy, and it's not easy to just get along with everybody. And the thing that really annoyed me, it was a company, still, I'm not going to say the name. They approached me for their plugin. And they were, I mean, it's a known company, but like once they send me their plugin for free, although I never asked for it, they just, they just said, do you want us to send the free plugin? I'm like, yeah, I don't really use plugins, but if you feel so. So they sent it, and then I did a video, and then they just started pushing me, like, do more. Every week we want a video. I'm like, guys, we never like talk about any payment or something. Like, okay, I just showed something, you just sent it for free. Thank you, bye. Like, and they kept like kind of like pushing me that, hey, we'll just give you a free product for like so many bucks, and now you're not making content. And I didn't hold myself, and I felt like they were rude to me. So I replied them, guys, like Fractal itself sent me the XFX3, which is $1,000 more of worth for free. Yeah. Like, what are you trying to tell me? Like, it's a plugin. Like, come on, chill out,
Yeah. I mean, that's the funny thing about software like that too. That's my, I don't have an issue with software at all, but like when it comes to the value, that's an interesting concept, because XFX sent you software within hardware. So there's a much more tangible, I guess, physical price attached to it. Whereas software, it's made, it's done, and then you share the license. And it's not this physical product. So it feels a little bit more, and especially like a lot of those plugins, if they're $100 or $200, I mean, if I sit down and make 2 hours of content, I mean, there's the trade-off. Like for something that's like $100, $200,
exactly.
Or, a couple hours or whatever. And what I do is if I really like something, I'll push it to, I'll just tell my students about it, and I'll use it all the time. So like, I felt like I did that with like McCrockelin's. I really liked his plugin, so I used it a lot. I told students about it. I use it for a very specific thing. I don't think I use it as in depth maybe as he does, but there's very specific things where I'm like, oh, I know it'll work for this.
Yeah.
So, but like what you said about you use the stuff you use, and it's hard to make those shifts. So I think that's something that companies maybe should consider, but I don't know. It's also too, I think it's a risk on their end to send out stuff, because really the hope is that they'll give it to you and you'll like it. Yeah. And that's really, and that's what, when I talked to Fishman lately, and that's all like, they are great there. So nice. Everyone was great. And Chris, the head of the VP of marketing was like, he's like, you haven't even tried. He's like, I just want you to try them. I just want to see if you like them. Yeah. Like, no, just I'm going to send you whatever you want. I just want to see. So I'm getting them put in. And, sometimes it's interesting, man, that interaction alone, actually pushed me to take the time out of and go, all right, I'll get these installed. I'll put them all in, like, hell yeah, I'll figure out some pickups. Whereas sometimes, but like I said, but it's a risk. And I think you as a manufacturer or a company, it's in the hopes that the person you send it to will like it and then end up using it. It's hard to convince someone who's doing stuff like this all the time to start using your product when they're already using something else. Yeah. But I think there are ways to do it. And I think creating a very strong relationship, and like what XFX did is like, oh, just we've seen you're using it, like just use it. Kind of that like almost like, how would you say?
It's natural, just, I've never, like, I would say I worked for it, but that wasn't in my mind. Like when I bought my XFX2, it was a used unit. I found it here in Athens. Somebody was selling, and I bought it. I've been playing because I really love the sound that I was watching in other videos back in the day. So I just bought the XFX2, and ever since I've just been playing with it. So the guys just saw it. I never emailed them, not even once. Like I've never contacted Fractal. So they just emailed me, and that feels right in a sense within you, because you're doing the right thing. If a company as big acknowledges what you do, then that, hey, that's the right path. Let me push forward.
If you're a guitar player or bass player, you should really have a copy of Guitar Pro tablature software. I've been using Guitar Pro for like 15 years, and I really can't live without it. At this point, it's sort of an industry standard within the guitar education realm, and it's really easy to use. You can make all your licks and write out all your songs, and you can actually use it in conjunction with ultimateguitar.com, where you can download Guitar Pro files and learn all your favorite songs. So I couldn't recommend this software enough. And if you use the code MikeGP at checkout, you can get 10% off your copy of Guitar Pro 8. That's Mike, MikeGP, at checkout, guitar-pro.com.
Yeah, you can kind of sense when there are certain those interactions. You can sense kind of good faith and good-heartedness, and they quote unquote like believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
In a really strong way. And I've only had that happen a few times with a few different companies where it's felt really, really natural and really good, where they're like all about what you're doing. It's almost like you feel like this sounds really dumb, but you're like, oh, I feel kind of special. Like, because they have all these really, a lot of these companies have huge artists, and then just the way they interact with you, it's like, oh, I feel like they single people out, no matter who they are, and really just treat them well, which I like that. I think it's very noble when companies do that. And then, so how long have you been playing Kiesel stuff?
So I think I'm with Kiesel guys like 5, closing to 6 years now or something. So it's been a while. I have no idea how fast so many years, just went by. But it's a great relationship. It's like a deal that I would never expect. And there's a lot of things I like about Kiesel. Obviously their product, which is super important, I guess. But one of the best things, comparing that to other endorsements, guitar endorsements, for a friend of mine that we've discussed that, Kiesel is very supportive. Like they will repost you, they will just text you. You feel like a connection, like a family kind of like thing. And then sometimes even Jeff on his live streams, when he sees me online, he might say, "Hey, Stel, what up? How's it going?" Stuff like that. So you feel kind of like acknowledged. And even they placed my poster on their showroom in their factory, which is a huge, like, to me, I mean, for somebody that might be nothing, but to me, a guy from Athens just playing guitar in my room and just teaching and doing that. And then this happens. It's a big deal for me, So that's something you don't really get from all the guitar companies. That's not easy. Like, if you go with Ibanez, which is a huge brand, you got to be like really big and right. So I love that with Kiesel.
Yeah. There are a lot of brands out there now. Have you had any other brands hit you up and be like, want to send you a guitar? And if so, how do you respond to that since you're working with Kiesel?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. Although back in the day, just before I go into the Kiesel contract, I was in touch with Ola Englund.
Oh, nice.
The moment he released solar guitars, we've talked, and he sent me some guitars with a very, very reduced price. I asked him if we can push forward to a deal, but he was like, dude, I just opened the company, like it's at 1 day. So let me see how that goes and let's keep in talk. But then a few weeks later, the magic with Kiesel happened. So the rest is history. So since then, no other guitar company contacted me yet. So
Yeah. And so was YouTube the first place that you started to gain more of a following, or was it Instagram?
Yeah.
Or was it
No,
YouTube?
it was YouTube. And like, do you know David Wellman?
Yeah, I do.
Right?
Yeah.
So the crazy story with YouTube is probably the reason that I'm doing what I do, I guess. It's because I won one of David Wellman's contests back in the day. And actually that happened to be my second video ever on my YouTube. So I won the contest. That was a huge slap in the face. I quit my day job and I'm like, okay, this is it. I gotta focus, work hard, and make this shit work. Yeah. And I know that it's my problem if it doesn't, and it's my problem if it does. So, just I sat down and started figuring out ways how to improve. Like, I had the first, let's say, success story. I just made a video and that video made something happen. So that's the recipe. Make videos, just keep making videos and see what happens. Maybe you can win more contests or whatever. So that's the first click to do that. And then, the more you dive into that, you just improve your video quality, your perception on it, the sound, mixing, the playing, obviously. And then if you're truly good and you love it, and you are passionate about it, not necessarily consistent, because I wasn't very consistent. That's weird marketing wise, but I wasn't. I'm still not too consistent, but shit works.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess it's like finding the niche you like in your playing and just go straight for that.
Yeah. So you said that you brought up the consistency part. So, is it more, cause I'm still, I don't do a lot of YouTube stuff. I sort of far and few between. I'm very not consistent. Yeah. And I've always been curious about that. I suppose my holdback for YouTube has always been worry of consistency, but have you found that it's more about the virality of the video, or?
Yes and no. Listen, you can YouTube a bunch of suggestions from marketeers, from successful guys and YouTubers. It's not that what they say it's not true, but I've tried so many things. Even the analytics of my YouTube, they give me specific times of the day that they say that if you upload in this time, area, the video is gonna pop. And dude, whenever I do that, I get the least amount of views. And whenever I upload random crappy hours that the analytics say it sucks, I'm skyrocketing. So sometimes, dude, I find one thing, a human thing, very important in life, and that's honesty. If you're honest and you're not doing that trying to achieve a goal to, forcefully, then shit works. If you just try to put something into YouTube just to make something out of it, it's like you're already building expectations, and that's the wrong recipe to do YouTube. So to me, it's you got to enjoy it. What I do, at least, is I upload whenever I feel. If I don't feel, I don't do it. Dude, I uploaded 3 videos in just a week or 2 weeks, and then I haven't uploaded for the last 2 or 1 month.
Oh, wow.
That's crappy consistency. So I would say, I know consistency pushes a lot of people that they feel like, oh shit, every Monday I got to do a new video, and where should I make time for it? And, I would say, don't even bother. If you feel like creating, pick up your camera, play, just talk, whatever you do, and just do it. And if it's honest and good and you are patient through years, this might work, but you have to be persistent and patient.
Yeah, I think it's that's a lot of good points. There was something I was going to ask you. Oh, yeah. So as far as your musical education, did you take lessons? Were you self-taught? Did you go to any sort of conservatory or anything?
So everything happened. I started with some lessons, some students, some teachers, and it was good, not too good. There weren't insanely good players, but they weren't bad teachers. And then there was a period where I was transitioning into having some lessons, then solo. At some point, I attended a branch of Berklee College of Music here in Athens, and I actually, I was in the university. I studied environmental engineering. That's my bachelor.
Oh wow!
Yeah, into science a lot. And so that was an island here in Greece, Crete Island. That's where I was studying. So I had to take the boat to go to Athens every couple of weeks to attend the music conservatory and then come back. So it was a huge hassle. My mom and dad had to pay a lot of money to, support me doing that. So I had a couple of years of doing lessons like that. And then again, self-taught for some period, then another teacher. It was a little bit of a mix, but a lot of hours of playing, like a lot of hours of playing.
Did you use a lot of your online resources or books or anything that were notable?
Not really, I would say. I've graduated some schools. I don't know if you know the RGT. I've just graduated all that. I just, graduated the 8th grade, and then I moved on for the teaching diplomas and all that. So I know theory. I know a lot about it. Not everything for sure, but a lot. But yeah, that was how it evolved. But mostly it was playing, like a lot of playing, bro.
And were you doing like a lot of transcribing?
No, I was an ear guy, right? Since the early days. Since I was a kid, actually, like my ears were very powerful. Like I remember playing like PlayStation, listening to the music. I would pause the game, like Tomb Raider 1, to even listen to background music, the harps and all that crazy music, the ambience. And I'm like, that's nice. How do I create that? Yeah. So my ears were strong enough. So I wasn't really transcribing by scores or like tabs. It's all ear. And that helped me develop my style, I guess, the sense of touch, the bends, vibrato, slides, the melodic approach and all that.
Yeah. Were there any pivotal players at that time for guitar players?
For sure. As everybody, I wouldn't skip that guy, but John Petrucci, bro, John Petrucci is the guy that changed my life. I remember back in the university days, I was, a freshman, and I was watching his DVDs every single day, again and again and again. Specifically, the song "Through Your Eyes," where he was playing that super melodic solo live in New York. So, I've seen that video, I don't know, 10,000 times. So it was embedded. But then, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Neil Sean from The Journey, a lot of players that I admired. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, dude. I was going to ask something about that. Oh, that's what you grew up, born and raised in Athens? Is that?
Yeah.
Are you mostly teaching stuff? Or are you doing any gigs? What's the gigging scene like there? Is there?
Look, I don't gig. I would love to. I have some plans. I used to gig back in the day, but that was a very random band that I had in my university days. So it was like a cover band and nothing really serious. So the scene here wasn't as good, but it's getting better. Festivals are getting better. More big bands are playing. So I guess the scene slightly starts to rise, and that's a great thing. And I see a lot of bands, a lot of cool, great bands that are kicking ass. Gas G, Firewind, Rotting Christ, a lot of super talented musicians. And I think the scene is rising, but I would love to jump into that field. But I know it's a new thing.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was any sort of Minneapolis, where I'm at, there's just a huge cover scene.
All right.
Cover band. So there's a lot of work. So I didn't know if you had anything like that going on there, or if it's mostly original bands and then maybe
it's everything. You will find a lot of cover bands as well.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of islands in the summertime, and a lot of bands they just go there, just play and gig and whatever. I've never been into one. Maybe once. Can't remember, maybe once, but it wasn't that big. But I don't think I would join something like that right now. If I would join a band, not my band, but if I would join to play with somebody else, I would like that to be super professional and high level, to drag me higher than I'm already and learn something, and push myself.
Have you thought about getting a band for a solo project?
Yes, I am recording some stuff right now. And I don't know if that really comes out good, because it's still in the early days, but if that comes out really good, I would consider it. Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, why not?
Nice, man. So you're teaching most of the time. Is that something that you're doing? Is that your Do you do any like online course stuff, or is it really, are you doing mostly, I know you had the McCrocklin thing. You were doing something with McCrocklin on his site.
Yeah, I did something for a small period of time, but I haven't really done anything yet. I sell my tabs for my most viral videos and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm also working on content to sell on my upcoming website. But the big thing is JDC. I signed with JDC.
Oh, yeah.
So I will work on a great masterclass. I already started doing that. But there's a lot of work. There's a lot of things that I want to put down, and I'm a perfectionist when it comes to that type of content. So it takes a long time for me. I'm not a guy that just delivers like that. I sit down, I organize things, I change constantly. I just try to figure out what I would like to learn if I was a student watching me, So there's a lot of work to be done there. But yeah, that's the main upcoming project, JDC.
Yeah, is this your first one with them?
Yeah. It's the first.
Okay. Yeah. I can't. That seems like it'd be an undertaking. I used to do some stuff with a company called Infinite Guitar.
All right.
And it was a much smaller scale as far as what JTC does, in the sense that they weren't these huge master classes that we would develop. It would be like a new lesson once a month from each teacher. So
all right.
Not as much pressure, but I have found that, especially with what you're talking about, I run into the same issue where and I don't know if you do this, but there are times where I'll be sitting down to make some sort of content, some sort of lesson thing, and I'm like second guessing everything, because you start to go through all the scenarios in your head of every type of student. Yeah. So I'll start to like write out something or like try to record something, and then I'll be like, well, but what if they don't know what that is? Yeah. And like, how are they going to utilize this? Because like this part, all right, so I'll explain this. It's like, well, now I'm explaining too much. It's like too much backstory for this one thing. And now all the people who know all that backstory are going to be like, and like, so how do you combat that? Do you really just set parameters of like, in this, there's a precursor, like that you're going to need to know all this stuff in order to understand this? How do you do that?
I guess like I haven't done any, like, except coffee break Gruvs, which is kind of like something like JDC but super smaller. I used to do content for them, but it was so I wasn't really talking from the camera. It was only like just playing and selling tabs and stuff like that. So what I would do in this case is, it's very hard to teach everything in a video. Yeah. So in certain, let's say, parts, you need to explain that, hey guys, if you want to like learn this, you should be very familiar with this and this and this, So like, for example, I remember McCrocklin asked me to just do a video about modes for his website. And I was like, I was thinking, yeah, but do people know intervals? Yeah. Like, do you understand? Like, I can talk about like the Lydian, I can say something about sharp 4, but do they know what that means? Yeah. But then I need another lesson to teach intervals. And then after you learn intervals, you need to learn the chords, the seventh chord. So you know the voicings and how that, complements modes. And it's a whole mess. And you're like, okay, how can I teach, let's say, Mixolydian if people don't know the chords on the background? Like, yes. So you just take some, I would literally say something like, guys, I expect you guys know the intervals and the chords, and you can put the chords onto a scale, minor, major, whatever. I perceive you guys know that, so therefore I'm moving into the mode. So you take some stuff for granted. Otherwise, it's a mess. You can talk for hours. It really is. That's the hardest thing I think about teaching theory is it has to be taught in an order. And if you skip steps, it can be very difficult. Or even if you sometimes you can kind of jump ahead if someone's a fast learner and they understand at least the major and minor scale and the chords that exist within there with the seventh chords. But I have found over the years that teaching modes in a private student situation is about 50-50, hit or miss, as far as students really grasping it. I would say about 50% are like, oh yeah, I see, I totally get it now. But 50% are like, it's still not really resonating. And it's funny, there's so much around modes and for me,
I think a lot of it too is spending time with each one and really figuring out exactly how they work. Because like we spend time with the major scale, we spend time with the minor scale, and then all of a sudden people are just thrown into modes. It's like probably should spend time with Dorian for a while and then spend time with Lydian for a while. So I found, what is your approach when you teach that type of stuff?
So it's pretty similar, you know, in my case, I wouldn't say it's like 50-50. I feel very confident in teaching the modes because I'll tell you this, the way I teach the modes, it's the way I would like to get taught on the modes. And I wasn't, because most teachers, if not all, they didn't really taught me the modes the way it should be according to my approach. So it was like very straight up into the point, but yet I was missing all this information prior to the mode. So to me, the first thing is understand what's prior to that. If you want to understand the modes, you need to know your scales. You need to know the basics of intervals, basics of harmony, how chords work, and then gradually start diving with the current shapes, you know, from the minor or major scale, and, you know, link them with the modes because they are already there. Never knew, but they were there, right? So, and then if you know the intervals, you start gradually learning, you know, the theory, like, you know, what's a Lydian, what's a mixed Lydian, what's Dorian. And then, as you said, the best scenario is expose yourself with each mode for a long time to get the vibe of it, like how you can sound Dorian, like, you know, add that major six, like how can you make it, I don't know, whatever, like Phrygian, like flat two, and like you need to remember the characteristic of the mode, but also the sound, you know, that like Phrygian has that beautiful like Eastern kind of like vibe, Egyptian somehow. So like you need to kind of like remember the taste of it, and you have to be exposed to it to be able to remember it.
One of the best things you can do as a musician is to protect your own hearing. I've been using these Eargasm high-fidelity earplugs for months now, and I really love them. They're nice and discreet, high quality, and they don't make any of the sound muffled. They let in the right frequencies that I need on gigs or at shows. You can get 10% off your order if you use code MSALO10 at checkout. That's my first initial M, my last name Salo, S-A-L-O-W, 10 at checkout to get 10% off your order at eargasm.com.
Yeah, and I think recognizing the chord progressions and recognizing when those things occur in different situations. But like you said, it's time. You have to spend time. The more time you spend with the instrument and the more time you spend with each modal situation, the more it's easy to identify that. And I think the hardest thing for many people is within improvisation, like just being able to recognize it and know exactly when and where these things occur.
True.
But if you get time to spend with it, you know, in the practice room, if you have a good enough ear, I think even if you're kind of just learning it, I think you can peg, like if you're doing playing a wrong note, like, oh, that must not be the major scale. I must have to play mixed Lydian or something.
Yeah, correct.
But yeah, man, that's great, dude. You JTC stuff. So that's going to be quite an undertaking, but I that's super exciting. That's like I think most instructors, you know, at this point in the game, I think that's a really big one that people shoot for. How did that come about? Did you reach out to them, or did they reach out to you?
So it's a fun story. You know, back in the day when I was in my 20s, if I'm not wrong, I was in a kind of like rush to just make it in the business, you know, get endorsements, go into the JDC. It's not that I was cocky or anything, but I was just pushing too much. And I remember I've messaged them back in the day. They gave me a shot. I created something like a small package to send them and evaluate me. Obviously, I wasn't ready, dude. I'm watching the videos that I've sent them back in the day. I'm like, what the hell? I was thinking like that, but this is crap. Like, dude, everything was wrong. The video, like the looks, the sound, the licks, everything was off. So, of course, they didn't accept me back in the day. And I was like, you know, it's okay. Like, even if I never join, like, it's fine. You know, maybe I'm not that good, but it's okay. You know, maybe I'm not Guthrie Goldwyn. I know I am not. I'm still not. I will never be. But you know what I mean? Like, I accepted the fact that maybe I'm not that good. So let's do whatever I can do with what I know and whatever happens. So, dude, I was in Vienna for a trip with my friends like a few months ago. And while I was walking the streets of Vienna, I get a message on Instagram from JDC. And they'd be like, Stel, how's it going, bro? Like, we're watching your content all these years. You're doing awesome. Your content is super amazing, high quality. And I think it's about time to do business. And I'm like, holy shit. And it's the same thing that happened with XFX. So it just came, you know? Like, if you would ask me when I was 19, I would want that to happen when I was 23, right? But it came when I was 37. So, like, it doesn't matter, man. Like, things happen naturally when we just sit back, enjoy the ride, enjoy the process, become better of a person and a player, be patient, and things might happen. And it happened. So they approached me. I've been talking with the guys I signed, and now I'm just working on my masterclass, which is going to be about, obviously, my niche, melodic playing and all that. So it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, dude, that's really exciting. There was something I was going to ask about that. And I think how much, so with all that, with the content, and this is kind of, I guess, for other people as advice, how much would you say the video quality of the camera and the editing process of making videos plays into the success of what you're doing?
A lot.
Okay.
Nowadays, a lot, because listen, back in the day when I started creating videos, like that was freaking 10 years back, things were different. Like, YouTube wasn't that saturated, and also like other apps weren't as big. Technology got better, internet got faster, so everybody became a creator nowadays. So even if you're not too good in your guitar playing, let's say, or your musical, like whatever proficiency, you still can create awesome content with the bare minimum. Like an average iPhone can shoot amazing videos nowadays, which means content become like, now it's like super pleasing, right? With all these apps like TikTok, we're so like forced to digest this enormous amount of content. So what I'm talking about is like, competition is insane. It's more than ever. So you have to be not only a good player and all that, but also you have to know how to create good, appealing content that talks to the audience and even kind of like catches the attention of your eye. So yes, knowing how to make a nice video with proper audio, you know, digital audio, not having your camera picking up the sound and stuff like that. So, you know, you need to spend some time learning that, but it's easy. Like, it's not rocket science. You just sit down, see a bunch of videos, and you learn how to do it. And it takes practice. But it's a huge part.
Yeah. How much time do you think you spend like on a single YouTube video within a week? Like when you go to release?
Oh, dude. Usually I do improvisations, and everything is so like instant. I don't like work before I do that. Like I don't practice. I don't work on my phrasing. I don't download the backing track and play for a couple of days. It's just raw. I'm just going next room. I'm dressing, putting up the camera, grabbing my guitar, improvise, and whatever comes up. So it's not too long. I would say on a good day, the video shooting along with editing, everything together might take approximately 3 to 4 hours.
Okay. That's not bad at all.
Not bad at all for one video. That video might be like 2 to 4 minutes. Not too big though. Or of course, no talking, no super editing with, you know, syncing voice and stuff. Just guitar playing, which is easy to edit. But like the worst case scenario is if I'm super tired from lessons or the takes doesn't go well, which of course it happens many times. I might end up shoot the video for hours, and I'm so stubborn. If the video is not done, I'm not leaving this room. Sometimes I've canceled lessons, I've canceled plans because I knew I had to sit down and make the video happen. I'm not a guy that I'm like, you know, screw it, I'll do it tomorrow. No, it's like, no, I started, I got to end it now, today.
You get frustrated and you're like, I got to get at this. I do the same thing. Like, and it's stuff, I get that way with stuff beyond music too. Like if I'm doing something else, like even like, other projects, it's like if I get in and it's taking way longer than I expect, I'm like, no, it's gotta get done. Like I gotta, which is, I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a negative thing. I don't know, but it's, I definitely have the same quality. So you're improvising a lot of these. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's all improvised.
Yeah, so that's great, man. Because that's kind of how I do stuff for all my videos. It's either improvised or it's a I don't know, a 10th take improvisation that has ideas from each improvisation. Yeah, where it's like, oh, I'll actually do that, and then I'll do it again, and then I'll go, oh, I'll add that, and then it becomes like kind of written, but it's like written improvisation.
True. So, dude, that's true, because like when you hit the record button in your camera, that thing is real. Like it's so different to be in your pajamas and practicing an idea for days, and then you turn on the camera and just play the whole piece. When you're trying to achieve that one-off on one record play, that's improvisation. And sometimes it happens in one take, two takes. Sometimes it happens in 5, in 10. But it's improvisation. You just do it live. You don't know what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, which can become difficult for the transcription part, where you're like, oh, how did I do that? You ever had that before, where you've laid down something improvised and then gone like what the hell is that? Like, I did that before I recorded myself. And I used to record a lot of music. I've gone back and listened to some stuff where I'm like, what? I don't think I can play that again. Like, I don't know what the hell that was.
Do you transcribe your stuff on your own?
I do. Do you? Or do you have someone who does it for you?
I usually find somebody to do it for me. I'm too lazy to just sit down and Guitar Pro and just do all that shit. Takes a lot of time, and I enjoy playing guitar. That's what I love doing. And I know there are other people out there that they love creating tabs and transcribing stuff. It's just their hobby. So I trust them more than I trust myself in transcribing as far as my stuff. But oftentimes they contact me like, dude, what are you doing that part? Because I cannot tell. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I improvised it. So I sit down slowly and I just figure out the scale and the position. I'm like, maybe I did this and it's a legato part here. It seems like I'm alternate picking that note. I help them just get through.
Yeah. So how much stuff do you outsource?
Now, dude, I don't know. In my web store, I have like a bunch of like tabs that I'm selling for my most and that's a fun fact. Like, usually I don't make tabs for any video that I upload, because that would just, I don't know, that would be a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And also not every video scores the same results. Not that I'm doing it for the results, but you know what I mean? Like, when I see a video popping, like let's say I upload a video like last night, and in 2 days it's like 10K views. I'm like, holy shit, this is going to go high. So the moment I realized in the first couple or 3 days that this video is going really high up in likes and comments and views, I get the tabs done with some of my friends, and then I sell them. So it's like, it's a real thing, kind of like I just observe what rolls and I adjust.
As opposed to, doing everything. You're just trying to... Yeah,
I'm trying to save some work and time, because I don't want to become a machine. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want to still have a life.
Yeah.
Which is very similar. I struggle with that back and forth of like, am I gonna try to just be one of those guys who's just a workaholic, like all day, every day, and then you try to do that for a little bit, and then after a while you're like, wow, I'm really missing out on life stuff. I need to like hang out with people. And so it's like that back and forth. How do you deal with that?
Well, I just try not, I'm a musician, I play a lot, I teach a lot, which means I spend a lot of time indoors, right? Because my fun, which is playing guitar, it's indoors. Teaching is indoors. Doing YouTube is indoors. Same room, same place, it's very, very weird. And what I try to do to compensate with that is like, I work out, I walk a lot, I see my friends every single week. I don't skip that. I try to go out. So yes, I always try to find that balance. And also like my morning times, it's the time of the day where, I'm going to take it easy. I'll chill out, I'll sleep more, I'll work out. I'm not going to do any music. And then as day goes on, I just do my lessons, and then I'll shoot my videos. So I'll just try to balance it, but it's a very difficult thing to achieve, because, perceiving balance is on its own a very philosophical idea. Like, what's your perception of balance? What do you think is balance? Like, do what? Work like 3 hours per day, like 5, like.
Right.
So it's a constant kind of like process.
Yeah, you kind of have to feel it out every week because you might feel balanced one week with the amount of work, and then the next week you're like, oh, this is too much.
Yeah. For sure.
Which is funny. I had that situation this weekend. Last weekend, I played 3 gigs and I felt very out of balance. I was just like, this is like too much. And I just taught a masterclass online on Sunday, and I just felt like I had a lot. And then this weekend I did 5 gigs, and it felt great. Like I felt great the whole time. I was like, oh, this is great. Like, yeah. And I don't know why. Maybe it's, it could be a headspace thing, where your head's at. Maybe something went good at the beginning of the weekend that felt good the rest of the weekend, or. Yeah.
Psychology is a very movable thing. It's not standard. Like you don't wake up every day the same, right?
No.
So, and life happens in weird ways where you don't expect what happens next. So that definitely affects a musician and an artist. And an artist is like a very alive thing, which means you, like every other person that has a normal, let's say, job, like 9 to 5, they might be yelling for that, but that sometimes puts you in an order. Like, I'm too lazy to wake up tomorrow, but somehow you have a plan. We don't. We create what we like, which it seems very fun to other people, but it's so frustrating and demanding. And dude, even when we sleep, I know that because a lot of friends are like that. So when we sleep, we're always thinking like, what video should I do next? Or reply these comments. Oh, that guy bought that and it doesn't work. So like, work.
Yeah, it's just like, work. Well, so after you graduated college, or did you end up pursuing the engineering side at all? Or?
I did a little bit. I was working for the government for a small period of time with my brother. We were both engineers there. We're actually, how can I say this now? We were pretty much something like the FBI of the engineers here. So we were trying to pretty much catch whoever didn't apply by the law and doing, crazy under the table shit, with engineering and buildings and infrastructures that weren't, legal and stuff like that. So I was in a field of that department. I worked there for a while, but then that was for the public sector here in Greece. So dude, that wasn't my thing. Like working in the public sector, it was a lot of politics involved. And I'm not that type of guy that gets along with all that. And it very fast, it started wearing me out. And I realized that's not for me. So I just started doing other type of jobs, crap jobs, whatever, call centers, like salesman, whatever. And then that thing with David Wildman contest happened, and the rest is history.
Oh, yeah. So which contest was that, by the way, and what year was that?
Man, I need to Google it right now. I think it was they had a band. I think the name was Public Alchemy.
Oh, yeah.
How do I even remember that? It was Public Alchemy Guitar Contest. So the winner, the prize was the winners were going to be featured as a guest solo, the take you did for the contest would be the guest solo for their album. So I won that. So even sometimes now I show the video that they announced me to some of my students as a motivation, because it's the video that changed my life. And dude, it's such a crazy moment to, think back at it.
Yeah, dude. That's cool. Yeah. I've been following David's stuff for a really long time. I think I entered some of those contests
nice.
10 years ago.
Wow.
So did you have a contest phase as well? Because I feel like I did too, where it was every contest I would try to get involved in. And then there was this point where I just was like, all right, I don't, maybe I shouldn't do these anymore.
You mean joining contests?
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. If you remember back in the day, 10 years ago, contests, dude, were a thing. There were everywhere. Ibanez, Andy James, everybody was shooting a contest. And it was insane, Palmer, all these companies. So
I remember the Palmer one. Palmer one.
Right? So all these bands that were just running contests. So to me, because I was pretty much nobody back in the day as far as social media, I was trying to pretty much join every single contest because it was a pure exposure. Like I would see my contest video getting more views than my, regular video. So I was like, okay, my regular video gets like 500 views, and then the contest video gets like 3,000. And I was like, wow, 3,000, that's insane.
Yeah.
So who knew? So I kept joining back in the day, but right now, like I don't even know if there are any contests. But I think there was one few weeks back from what's the guy from Per Nielsen? I think that was the guy.
Oh yeah, Per Nielsen had a contest. Yeah, right? I don't know who won that one, but I download those backing tracks because I love that band and they were fun to play with.
Yeah, so I did enjoy. I try not to put myself in too many, kind of like open up too many doors, if that makes sense. Because I just try to, I have a lot of lessons, bro. Like I have more than 50, 55 students. It's a lot of people, and sometimes I don't have the time to just sit down and do nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just kind of like recuperate. So I try not to put myself into too many things the last couple of years.
Yeah. Are you doing mostly half hour or hour lessons?
Well, everything, but my personal students, online and, one-on-one, it's all 1 hour lessons, 60 minutes. And then on my music school, some of them are like 30 minutes, but not too many of them.
Do you have more students on your own or more at the school or?
On my own. I think I have more students than the whole conservatory combined in the guitarists. Yeah, I have a lot of students.
So when you say 50 students, those are your personal students, or are those the ones that combined with the conservatory too?
Those are mine, but sometimes, like give or take, it can affect like how many I have. Like in total, the highest I've ever had was like 66, but that was exhausting. And
do you teach every day then?
Yeah, at that point, when I had 66, it was like 7 out of 7, like every day, Sundays, Saturdays, Monday, every day. And that was depressing. I love teaching, but at some point I figured out you need to stop this because it's too like demanding. It drains you out. So I just, put a limit, and I'm like, when I get close to 50 or something, maybe I should, take care and not get more than that.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, and I limit myself to about, I teach some classes though too, so that's different, I guess, and I gig, but I limit myself to about 30 students.
Nice.
And I do mostly hours. I haven't counted what I have right now. But and then I teach a few classes, and I gig. So that's one of the reasons. And I'd say I stopped doing the weekends, probably, a long time ago. I probably stopped doing weekends. Well, I think I fully stopped like 5 years ago. I think even 4 or 5 years ago. I think 5 years ago, I still was doing like Sunday evenings to fit some people in. But I stopped Saturdays a long time ago, and then I stopped Sundays about 5 years ago. It was just too much. There's just so much life things going on with people around you that it would just get draining, and trying to. I'm not originally from this area. I'm from about 4 hours south of here. And so, anytime it was like out of town for that or for gigs, it was like always canceling. Like, I got a gig, I'm not going to be here, or I'm going to visit family, can't be here. So yeah, very stressful. But I know a lot of people who do that. And it's funny. It's not many industries where it's like people do that, where it's like 7 days a week, where it's just like, obviously there are industries like that do that, but almost by choice. Like there was I think a lot of teachers, they by choice, maybe by choice, maybe they need to, if they need to make income, but where you just get so many students where you're like, all right, yeah, I'll do Saturdays. All right, yeah, I'll do Sundays. But it can be very, very draining.
For sure. Yeah, I do Sundays because Sundays is my US students because of the time difference. They're like, every day, like Monday to Friday, they work. I cannot eat, or it's going to be like super late here, like 8 a.m., like 3, 4 a.m. So it's not possible. So Sundays is for my U.S. I have like Sundays is like Trinidad, Canada, U.S., like all these Western world kind of like students. But it is draining, but I try to kind of like get my day off. Saturday is free for me as well the last couple of years. But then I try to make another room for maybe Tuesday. to keep it free so I can.
Yeah, that's funny. That's actually the day I do. I've heard that something about Tuesdays. Literally, I just had this conversation with someone else, and they're like, "I take Tuesdays off too, or I free them up."
Nice.
Like,
the Tuesday Club.
yeah. Tuesdays and Saturdays really is what they usually are. Sundays I still do. I do a little bit. Yeah, not that much. But I have actually brought in a little bit of stuff on Sundays.
All right.
Not too much. It was worse when I was younger because I used to do in-home lessons and it was local. And so I'd like drive people's houses on Sunday nights and it was like, ugh.
I used to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of work, but people love it when you come to their house.
Oh,
Yeah, that's funny. The Tuesday thing. Yep.
Yeah.
But it's good though. I think it's really important, especially too, like as you get older. I think when I was younger, it taxed on me, like it was weighing, but it didn't hit me like it does now. Like if I was doing 7 days a week, I think I would just be like depressed. I'd just be like, too much.
Yeah, man. It's super difficult.
Yeah, it's super difficult. Like when I was younger, I was just like, it just is what it is. It's not that, it's kind of sucks, but it is what it is when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, all good stuff. Well, hey, dude, I appreciate you being on here. This was great.
It was amazing, my friend. It's such an honor, such an honor.
Yeah, same, man.
Love
Same
this
here.
type of podcasts.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited. I'll let you know when I post it. You'll be on season 2. Yeah,
awesome. I'd love to.
Coming up. Yeah,
awesome,
man.
Dude. I watched your stuff. You were doing a great job, and the content is nice and very informative. So yeah, keep doing that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, appreciate it. Yep, I will. Yep. It's kind of, when you get in deep, it's like, I guess this is where we're going with this.
Exactly.
Yep. So you can't stop. You just got to keep trucking along and keep making stuff and keep building and growing. And hopefully someday we'll be looking like a Marty Schwartz account or like a Jared Dines account, like those big ones.
Never know. Keep pushing.
I don't know if I can do this stuff. I don't know if I have as much personality as someone like Jared Dines where I could go out and.
It takes a lot of energy, right?
Yeah, it does, which I commend. It's not a whatever. What do you call it? I totally commend it. And I think I've heard nothing but good things about that guy. And he's apparently a really hard worker. Like that would take a lot of energy, not to get into another topic all of a sudden, but it's a lot of energy that I feel, I admire. And that's like, oh gosh, I don't think I could do that. That seems, it's a lot of work that I'm already doing one thing and to add and all that other stuff. But anyway, it'd be cool to be at that level someday as far as followers and all that stuff. And
awesome. I wish you were.
Yeah, man. Cool. For you, I'm saying.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll look pushing. I'll see. Never. I'm super patient. I don't mind.
Yeah, man. Cool, man.
Awesome.
All right. Have a great one. It's good having you.
You too, my friend. Bye-bye.
Later, buddy.
If you'd like to join my Patreon to get your questions answered by the guests, then you can go to patreon.com/Mike Salo. There are several tiers there that you can take part in and lots of different perks like pre-recorded guitar lessons or even one-on-one guitar lessons with me. There are live master classes every week for certain tiers. And again, you can go to patreon.com/Mike Salo to check that out.